special segment of BIBO Weekly for you today. Earlier this year, one of our collaborators and partners, FemBot, a women's business directory of over 700 women business owners and growing, hosted its very first virtual gala. Well, we were on board to host and moderate their virtual panel all around angel investing. So let's join this virtual panel with three amazing women that are champions of angel investing, and they will share how women-owned businesses can be competitive and receive the exposure and funding they need. Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy S. Campbell of BIBO Weekly, and today I am here on behalf of FemBot at their virtual gala, and we're so excited to be here, and I have the pleasure and the privilege of moderating the virtual gala's panel discussion today all around investing. So I thank you so much for joining us, and you're going to meet these incredible ladies here joining me on the panel today as we talk about investing, how you can invest, how you can become an investor, and we're going to talk about funding. And guess what? Funding isn't very straightforward. There's other lesser known areas in which you can possibly obtain funding. Now, to kick things off, we're going to allow you to meet these great ladies right here. First, we have Maria Manigo. Maria Manigo, she is an angel and investor and strategic advisor, and she has a couple of organizations that you need to know about: Foundation LLC and Redemption, which is in the business of making, access to angel investors a little bit easier. Welcome, Maria. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, wonderful, wonderful. Glad you're here, and you have a lot going on, Maria. So I am going to allow you 60 seconds to tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Awesome. 60 seconds. So Foundation LLC is a holistic corporate culture consultancy. We help startups define a foundation of a culture that grows with them so that they are less likely to have those issues that land them in the news and have folks that really want to come to work every day. And then as a partner organization, we have Redemption, which is an all-in-one platform that brings together women angels and women founders so that we can close the gap with funding around women-led companies.
Wonderful, fabulous. Thank you so much for being here, and can't wait to hear what all you have to share with us today.
Thank you.
Next, we have Grace Bedota. Grace Bedota is with the Canadian Securities Exchange. Now, it's a smaller exchange. Of course, if you're familiar with the New York Stock Exchange and other entities like that, you have a general understanding, but Grace is here to educate us on the CSE and how it may actually be another resource for some of you out there. Grace, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, pleasure to have you here. And I'm going to give you 60 seconds as well to tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I am the marketing and events coordinator at the Canadian Securities Exchange, which is an alternative stock exchange to the TMX exchanges and the NEO exchange in Canada. And so what we started off as was we basically were a differentiating exchange that allowed different companies access to public capital other than other exchanges in Canada.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And we're going to go over to Miriam Davidovich. She is here, and she is representing the Rosham group of companies. I hope I said that correctly, Miriam. And she's going to tell you a little bit about what they do, but they are in the business of sustainable organic agricultural development and more. So Miriam, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for moderating this panel. This is fantastic. So I'm joining you from Johannesburg, South Africa, and Roshem has team members in South Africa, the US, Canada, Serbia, and Israel. And we operate a impact consultancy providing services to people who want to become impact investors or want to learn how to structure funds, or startups that are either social enterprises or are looking to increase their access to capital and to also explore alternative funding models. We've also got an in-house IT team that is building a private social network for the regenerative economy across the world. And our primary focus is program development. So we've got a Rural Innovation Center network connected through to that IT platform. And we're developing programs to empower rural residents and help villagers who otherwise depend on subsistence farming to diversify their income. And we're also running an acceleration program in Israel and a social entrepreneurship support program here in South Africa.
Wow. Well, Miriam, I guess you're a little busy, to say the least. So thank you for finding time to join us here. We greatly appreciate you and Grace and Maria. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. So now, everyone, as you can see, we have some amazing ladies here on the panel. So now we're going to get into the meat of all of this, and that is, again, investing. And we're going to be talking about various aspects of that. Let's start from the beginning. What is an angel investor? Maria, I'm going to start with you. What is an angel investor, and how did you get involved as an angel investor?
Absolutely, because it's a great question. So a non-technical definition would be someone who invests in startups, right? So there is all of your friends and your family that give you money when you start in the process of creating your company, and there are those that give you money thereafter. As an individual player in this, that person is an angel investor. On the technical side, they must have an income of a minimum of $200,000 per year in the prior 2 years, or $300,000 as a couple. Or a net worth of $1 million at least. But non-technically, it is someone who invests in startups.
Fantastic. Wow. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that. And Miriam, you are what's considered, I believe, an impact investor, if I'm saying that correctly. Can you tell us again, just like Maria here, can you tell us how you got involved and what exactly is an impact investor?
Well, how I got involved was that I wanted to branch out of mainstream finance and get out of the office environment and actually work boots on the ground in rural environments, looking at investing into organic agriculture and specifically regenerative agriculture as well. So that was kind of how my journey started, from offices in Toronto and Chicago to rural villages in Serbia, and then also eventually down here to South Africa too. Now, impact investing, the mainstream definition is investing with the intention of realizing positive social and environmental impact alongside financial return. But I'd like to take it a little bit further. So investing intentionally to ensure that our positive outcomes outweigh the negative. Because sometimes when we're measuring and managing impact, what can happen is the negative impacts don't end up being managed. And so we think we're making a certain positive impact, that we're achieving certain outcomes, but we're not actually solving problems. So it is ultimately being purpose-driven, mission-driven to actually solve problems within the communities that we're working within, regardless of our ticket size or how much money we put into an initiative, but actually making sure our outcomes are genuine, and most importantly, that they're verified by our stakeholders, so everybody that is impacted by that business.
Wow. Thank you so much for explaining that, because I'm sure, like myself, everyone, these are terms that are new. These are new terms. But if you are going to or want to endeavor into the realm of investing, these are things that you absolutely need to know. Now, Grace, you're coming at it from a slightly different perspective, right? Can you share with us a little bit about what makes the Canadian Securities Exchange, or CSE, makes it a little bit different than the New York Stock Exchange and some of those more known entities, or larger entities, I should say? What is it that makes it different, and how can someone benefit from that exchange?
Yeah, so the Canadian Securities Exchange, I think first and foremost, is a bit different than the bigger known names such as the Toronto Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange, because we live by our slogan, which is "We are the exchange for entrepreneurs." So way back when, before my time, the exchange started as a startup. So they sought funding from family, friends, high net worth, venture capital firms. You name it, they've done it. Whereas opposed to more of the bigger name stock exchange are most likely backed by banks. So the exchange started as a user-friendly and cost-efficient alternative to the TMX exchanges in Canada, with a specific appeal to small and micro-cap companies. Over time, the CSE has evolved into a platform that serves a wider spectrum of companies, from startups to larger funds. And in Canada, the market has clearly responded to our offering, as evident by the annual growing market share of listings and public financings that are occurring on the exchange. Another thing that's pretty notable at our exchange is that each division, whether it be listings regulations or listings development, we really understand the complexities of what it is to be a public company, and we do our hardest job to make sure that CEOs can navigate through being a public CEO, and then those entrepreneurs running their businesses can focus on value generation for their shareholders. And yeah, that's really the three most things that stand out, that differentiate us from other bigger, well-known exchanges.
That's fabulous, because it gives someone who's a smaller entity a chance to invest, to participate, to be listed potentially, and a chance to grow. So I think that's fantastic. And thank you for explaining that, because I'm sure a lot of folks aren't aware that a smaller exchange such as the Canadian Securities Exchange exists. So I thank you for that. Now that we've established a little bit about the different types of investors, we've talked about the various options out there that's available. Let's kind of, I guess, circle back to the fact that, hey, we're all women here, and we have women that are watching this. Some of them may want to be investors. Many of them are business owners. And right now, some statistics came out recently that were pretty disheartening, to say the least. And Maria, I'm gonna ping it to you because I am thinking that you may have a little bit of insight on some of these statistics, or at least can share some of them with us. And I for one, I was shocked, I guess, at how staggering it was. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Absolutely. And these statistics are for the US, but they aren't very different than they are globally. Women founders and women-led companies get funding at a rate of about 2.8%. That is up from 2.6% last year. So yay, I guess. But it is abysmal, right? And minority founders get less than 1%. African-American women get 0.06% of available funding. So let's just say, let's give a number of $500 billion that are available in the ecosystem, 0.06% of that, right? And women get 2.8% of that. That makes no sense whatsoever. And that affects what's in the market and what products are available. And in fact, downstream, how those products are designed.
Wow. Yeah, that is dismal. It's dismal across the board. And the fact that we are in 2020, and yes, it's been a challenging year.
But we hope you are enjoying today's virtual couch conversation around angel investing. Now, we're going to be back with more from these incredible ladies. But for right now, let's see how you boss ladies out there are coping with home life and the pandemic.
I joined Impossible because of the collaborative benefits of joining a mastermind and how we help and develop each other's businesses.
The thing she showed me the most, not just why you want it, but like visualizing it.
I learned so much about financial goal setting and how to properly plan your vision.
And now I'm leaving with a whole new different concept.
Here, we were able to talk to each other about how to get over those hurdles, which was really nice.
From the coronavirus to the stay-at-home orders to the riots, the world feels like it's turned upside down, and that can be especially stressful for mothers. So let's meet some moms who are finding ways to cope with the pandemic blues. I'm Diane Mocha of Working Mom Warrior, the YouTube channel devoted to helping moms regain a sense of calm, confidence, and clarity. Feelings that became so elusive during the pandemic when both parents and kids were expected to get work done from home.
They are all on me or on my husband, but he's also been nonstop, so his door is closed.
Leah Ramachandra admits it's been tough to keep her kids busy while trying to run her company, Astalinks. At least her struggles help other parents because the CEO understands what her employees are going through.
Everyone is in my company who have children, they constantly apologize. And they tell me all the time, oh, I can't call in now, but I can call in 2 hours. Me as a mom and a woman, I'm like, fine.
The pandemic has exacerbated the guilt parents have when they can't do everything for everyone. Such negative feelings can become destructive later if we don't reach out for help now.
Because if you're going that guilt spiral, then who knows, you can get depression, anxiety, everything else.
And it can be even more stressful for parents who cannot work from home.
I hear also other people say, their bosses say, no, you have to come to work. And they say, I can't, my son is at home or my daughter is at home. They say, okay, then you won't get paid.
That's a big concern for many parents who don't have enough money to pay bills because of reduced hours or layoffs. Nikki Anderson is a college program director who says those of us who are not worried about covering our housing and food costs should remember to be grateful.
What I'm dealing with ain't nothing, right? And really put it in perspective and ask, what can I do to help?
Offering to give back to the community can boost our mood at a time when so many of us are facing emotional challenges because of the isolation of sheltering in place.
Not seeing somebody, having coffee with someone, hugging someone, giving a handshake, and then being stuck and cooped up at home.
Many parents are also discouraged that their health is suffering.
I'll gain weight. I definitely will gain weight. I'm eating more and I'm not working out. So yes, because I can't leave the house also, right?
Then there are the worries about someone in our family getting sick, especially for parents who work in the healthcare field, like pediatrician Pam Persak.
I think the whole situation makes us nervous, right? Whether we're in the hospital or in our clinic, right? That you have to assume, anyone can be a potential exposure risk.
Pam tamed her anxiety by cutting back on how much she read about the disease and getting enough sleep, healthy food, and trips outside for fresh air and exercise.
Really, the most important thing is to control what you can control at this point, right?
Parents also improve their attitude by recognizing the unexpected benefits of the lockdown.
It's actually nice when I have a break between the calls. I can always, we can have a hug, or I can make their lunch, I can make their dinner. I never did that, so that's actually nice. It's a nice bonding.
Leah said creating new routines for her family's new reality was essential. Others said taking a break was critical, even if that meant relying on someone else for childcare. It's all part of developing coping strategies to help us now and prepare us for the next crisis. For BIBO Weekly, I'm Diane Mocha of Working Mom Warrior.
The Guild is a new one-stop shop for the conscious shopper looking for high-end fashion, children's wear, art, wellness, home and body products at affordable prices, with a focus on unique grab-and-go gifts, perfect for any occasion. Everything at the Guild is made with sustainable and fair trade practices. Located on the Southport Corridor in the heart of Chicago's Lakeview neighborhood, the Guild features a curated selection of trading partners from all over the world, making ethical shopping a new kind of retail experience. Visit the Guild in-store or online at www.theguild.global.
Today, we're talking about angel investing. We're learning about the different types of angel investors, and we're learning how angel investing may be the help you need for your product, service, or mission. So let's resume the conversation on the virtual couch.
Just the fact that we are here and those numbers are that low with the amount of women that own businesses, that run businesses, it's disheartening. So it just begs the question, everyone, how can we change those statistics? What can we do? What can we do to move us in the right direction, to kind of move the needle a little higher so that women-owned businesses and also minority women-owned businesses can have a fair chance, a fair shot? I'm going to start with you, Grace. Do you have any ideas around that or anything you may want to contribute as to, what can we possibly do collectively to change, to make that change?
Yeah, working at the exchange, we are really a vehicle for somebody that is looking to raise capital. So we do our programs and what we have at the exchange are open to anyone and everyone who, has a business. They are looking for alternative funding, and they are looking to be, a public entrepreneur, what have you. We have so many different types of companies, ranging from cannabis to blockchain. Now we have plant-based companies. We have just such a variety. So really, we I think are the face of diving into different and not turning our backs to different sectors or anything like that. So we are a vehicle for funding, and we encourage anyone that is starting a business to look to us for an alternative way to raise capital.
That's fantastic, and it starts there. It starts there with the availability of the help and the availability of the resources. So that's absolutely fantastic. Miriam, do you have any ideas or suggestions or comments even around these statistics when it comes to women-owned businesses and even more staggering minority women-owned businesses?
Oh, I'd like to share some statistics from South Africa as well. So here, 97% of domestic workers are women, and only 32% of managers are women. So that's quite shocking in that there's this bias in that, women are not necessarily welcomed into managerial positions here, nor is advancement possible for them with the work that is available, which is usually administrative or clerkship based. And that's quite unfortunate, especially given that in this country, Europeans are the minorities. So you have a large majority of the population that's dealing with these systemic barriers to progression, and a smaller percentage of the population that comes from outside of the continent that controls a lot of the businesses here. So there's a great initiative here called Black Economic Empowerment, which has some merit when it comes to inclusion and providing sort of a framework for companies to start including Black managers. And here, Black is also kind of an umbrella term for people who were overall previously disadvantaged. So some progress is happening, but what I believe is that it's really crucial, especially when dealing with programs or supports provided to minority women in North America and Europe, or looking at Black economic empowerment here, that the people who are seen as beneficiaries actually lead those programs, so that they're not labeled as being just beneficiaries of a program or of a support system or of an investment, but that they're actually involved in shaping how those programs take shape, how that investment will be relevant to their actual goals, their needs, that they can speak up and say, look, this is what we need. These are some of the challenges we've experienced. Can you support us to actually create our own solutions? because most of the time they're the ones who actually have the solutions, not the people coming in with the advice or the capital or the programming. And that's something I think needs to shift. So to really understand that it's actually female entrepreneurs of all races and backgrounds that have their own solutions, and funders actually just need to stop and listen and actually hear them out and give them space to create, to manifest what they're bringing into the world, and simply give them the tools and the structure to be able to do that and to overcome systemic barriers. So I think it's the approach that needs to shift.
No, I agree wholeheartedly, and I absolutely think that is half the battle is listening, half the battle is acknowledging that there is an issue. These statistics, yes, just came out recently, but the issue has been there for a very long time. And so I agree with you, Miriam, that now we really need to deal with the elephant in the room, essentially. That is the issue. And Maria, I was actually going to come to you. What would you like to add?
I was just going to add on to that, because the issue that Miriam brings up of not being able to move forward, like the glass ceiling, as we call it here, is a legitimate concern. And it is one of the primary reasons why women and minorities start their own businesses, right? And as we think about women becoming entrepreneurs, they are the largest growing number of entrepreneurs today. I think it's like 45% of all entrepreneurs that are happening today are women. It's the fastest growing population, but they're not getting funded in the current system, right? And so as we talk about what systems should be available to them and alternatives, as we talk about the Canadian Stock Exchange and in the Securities Exchange, and one of the things we also have to discuss is individual investors, so angel investors or others, women getting into the arena of being angels, right? Now more than any other time in history, we have more women that are eligible to be angel investors, and taking that power and funding those companies that they actually want to see in the world is the critical piece of it. It may be scary, but that's we are at the point of maturity as a people where we have to now take the reins and participate in having the world be what we want it to be. And that means actively investing.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. Wow, ladies, I wish we had another hour or two to continue this awesome conversation. But for now, I definitely want to thank each and every one of you for being here, sharing your perspectives and your insights. I'm going to go around the room one last time. Are there any final thoughts that you want to leave us with before we conclude? I'm going to start with you, Grace. Again, thank you for being here and joining us today. Any final thoughts or comments you want to leave those who are watching with?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you again for having me on this panel. This is a lovely group of women to have the panel with. And yeah, on that note, it is hard. It is hard for a lot of people to become even accredited investors. And really it starts, with investing when you're younger and building that. I'm a strong believer in helping at a really young age, or when you can, and helping people build that foundation so that they are able to become accredited investors, angel investors, or what have you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I agree. The younger, the better to start and leave a legacy for those behind you. So thank you so much, Grace. Miriam, again, thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom and your insights. Anything that you want to leave everyone with before we conclude today?
Thank you to everyone. This has been a very beautiful experience. I just want to add on to what Mireya said. So in terms of making direct investments into female-led businesses or minority-owned businesses, I think what's important to keep in mind is sometimes as investors, our returns don't have to be linear. So they don't have to be tied to a 3 to 5 year term. We don't have to look for a certain rate of return. There are many innovative financial instruments like revenue-based loans that can give entrepreneurs some leeway to only have to start paying back once they're actually making their revenue. There are great initiatives like women's giving circles, investor clubs, The Impact Finance Center in Denver, Colorado launched a really great initiative around giving circles, particularly for women, that offers even non-accredited investors the ability to participate in these giving circles and make smaller investments, even starting at $2,500 into women-owned businesses as well and local businesses. So it's really important to kind of diversify how we see investing. It doesn't always have to just be linear, and it doesn't always have to fit into one particular box. And there are so many new innovative financial instruments being developed by thought leaders such as Ani Patton-Power, who's an educator at Oxford University, for impact investing. And I'm really seeing a tremendous amount of female leadership come into the fore when it comes to these alternative investment structures. And you know, I think as women, we really need to band together and actually share our experience and create these new initiatives together and support one another as much as possible. So any initiative like FemBot that brings us together and creates these networks is what's going to change the future with us actually connecting and collaboratively working together to solve our own problems ultimately, because we are the solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could not agree more, Miriam. Thank you so much. And definitely we want to make sure that we get more of that information
Thank you all.
out there for those who are delving or want to delve into becoming an investor. And then Maria, thank you so much for being here. Any final thoughts or anything that you want to say before we wrap up?
I would just like to say thank you for having me, and I am so impressed by these ladies and the work that they're doing. It always makes me excited to find more people doing this work in this space. I'm in complete agreement with what Miriam said, and playing on that there are lots of places, and I always say to folks, anyone, when we're talking about this, we should consider every transaction as an investment, whether you only have enough to buy a product, right? Being intentional about what you buy and from whom you buy, to being able to invest as in a stock, or being able to invest as in a donation, or being able to do a direct investment. Like, all of these things are investments, and it's important to think about your dollars in this way because it guides you in how you make decisions. But there are certainly lots of different avenues like Republic and all the ones that were mentioned here, and CEO and other organizations that allow anyone, any woman who wants to participate in the process to participate in some way and really shape what we see in the future.
If you are looking at this on Facebook, okay, you can leave comments and things below. We want to see them. We want to hear about them. Make sure you're engaging as we have this great conversation today. If you're looking at this on IGTV, guess what? You can also give us your comments and suggestions and opinions and everything else there as well. And if you happen to be watching this on BIBO Weekly, BIBO Weekly.com, our website, or the Rewind Network, REEWIND.live, rewind.live. No, you can't leave comments, but we hope that you are enjoying the conversation just the same. Okay, we're going to be back soon, everyone. In the meantime, take care, stay healthy, stay safe, but most of all, stay blessed.